Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel, or if you're new here, welcome. My name is Siphokazi William, and today I'm going to be playing around with some hair, which is fun. The hair was sent to me by... Okay. The hair... So the hair was sent to me by Alipearl, and yeah, it's not a sponsored video. They just sent me the hair. They were like, check it out. You know, if you want to talk about it, and all that good stuff. And I was like, let me just do something that is basically my classic, my favorite, but I haven't done in a while, which is like super black hair and just like really like, you know, cut hair, straight cut hair and all that stuff that I feel like I haven't gone to my and straight, which is like my favorite hairstyle ever, straight, middle parts, all of that. So I was like, let me just go back to my roots basically and do that, try and see what I can do with the hair, how far I can take it and all of that. So if you want to see how I dyed this hair black, I styled it, I put it on my head, how I bleached the knots, how I tried to not get dye on the closure itself and all of that, then carry on watching. Okay, so we're starting off with hair from Alipearl. Like I said, they sent this to me for me to try out, and I decided to play around with it. So unboxing it, the first thing you get are these mink 3D lashes, which I've never tried mink lashes before, so I was pretty excited to use them. And then you also get the hair. They give you an extra band so you can sew it onto the wig for security, and this beautiful silk bag to basically store the hair in, which I appreciate so much, because like storing hair is very difficult and you have a lot of it and you don't have mannequin heads. So going into the hair is a wig that is 20 inches, which I was okay with a short length because I wanted shorter hair this time to try something new. And obviously the hair came in a hairnet to keep it protected, the usual everything in a plastic and a hairnet, the paper to keep it sitting right at the base of the hair. And I'm just like, you know, feeling the hair out. Feels really good. It's a body wave texture, which obviously explains the curls. And then looking at the cap construction, it is a pretty usual cap construction, but this is a closure more than it is a frontal. So because it's such a deep parting, it's done almost as a closure, but it's a bit longer than the normal closure. And the cap itself has those elastic bands to tighten that are already in there. So this is just what the lace looks like. And now we get into basically dyeing the hair. So I'm using this gel. It was a bit old, so it was already like dried up, which in this case worked pretty perfectly for it because it made it super thick. The reason I'm putting this gel onto the lace is so that the black hair dye doesn't seep through onto the lace and then I have black spots on the lace. I did kind of end up having one or two, but those ones were able to get washed out since there was this protective layer of gel. So I literally just put on a lot, like a lot. Don't be afraid to put on as much gel as you possibly can, because you want to protect that lace. You don't want a lace that has black spots all over it, and then when you're trying to like open a line, it like looks funky because then there's just a black spot somewhere. So that's just me putting on the gel all over that closure. This is what the gel looks like. As you can see, the layer is pretty thick. I do put on a bit more towards the front of the lace just in case, you know, just to be thoroughly sure, and then I let this dry. So this is what it looks like once it has been dried. I know it looks shiny, but that's literally because it's like a waxy gel. Now I'm going to move on to actually dyeing the hair. So I just wanted to show you guys what it looks like, what the actual closure looks like, and how deep it goes. I also wanted to show you that some of that gel that I applied did seep through onto the other side of the closure, which I'm completely okay with, because the more gel there is, the better protected the lace is, and that's a good thing. So I decided to start dyeing the closure first because that's what I wanted to be more black, and that's what's in the front. So I just sectioned off the hair in half like I did here, and then I'm using the Revlon Color Silk Beautiful Color hair dye in the color 1 Black, and I was pretty impressed with it. I was worried that it wouldn't be black enough or as black as I wanted it to be, but you can get darker blacks, trust me, by the way, like darker black hair color. But this one worked out quite well. So the way I did it was I started from the bottom and I worked my way up, and I used the dye straight out of the tube that is provided in the box. So I mixed it in that tube and then I applied it straight to the hair and started moving it around the hair using my hands, obviously wearing gloves. This is just the process, like you'll see the process as it's happening. I didn't speed any of this up so you can see it in normal time, and you can see how careful I was. I wasn't like rushing the process because again, I'm really trying to protect my lace and I'm trying not to get dye on my lace. So this, you have to be super careful when you're doing the part where there's the lace because you don't want any of the dye to seep through. Like I've repeated this about 10 million times now because it really is important. And then after I've worked the dye into the higher parts of the hair, I then do comb it just to make sure that all the hair has dye, just combing it through, making sure all the hair is going to be black, because there's nothing worse than dyeing your hair black and then there are like patches that are lighter, because it shows. Black is so dark that the lighter patches show so easily. But yeah, then the rest of this is just me showing you guys how I did this section basically, and how I applied the hair dye at the roots on both sides to make sure that it really does get through into the hair, and then I'd section the piece off and turn it over and then apply more hair dye. Okay, so here I actually forgot to apply the hair dye on the lower or the other side of this hair section. So I just went back and did that quickly because I was like, wait, the bottom part must be brown if I didn't, apply black hair dye on it. So that's what I went back and did. And basically there you can see the difference between the hair that has already been applied dye and the hair that has not. So then I go ahead, I leave the dye in for about 45 minutes just to be sure. They recommend 30 minutes like in the box, but I just did 45 just to be thoroughly sure. And then I went and washed the hair out. The water comes out very red because the hair came brown, so it's like cancelling out the colors and all that. And the ideal situation is that you wash out the hair until the water runs clear. But I didn't do that because I knew that I was still going to bleach the knots and I was still going to wash this hair some more. I still obviously had to wash the lace. I had to wash off all that gel from the lace in order to apply the bleach and all that. So I do wash the hair, but I'm not like washing it enough for the water to run clear yet. Also, when I'm first washing the hair this time, I use warm water, and then later on when I'm washing the hair a second time, I use cold water because I don't want to dry out the hair too much with the hot water. Okay, so now it's time to bleach some knots, and using my all-time favorite products, which are the New Light bleach powder and the 2-volume developer, I just applied this onto the closure as I always do. I did speed this part up a little bit, but again, I very gentle. I take my time usually. This is just sped up, and I try to be as light-handed as possible so that the bleach doesn't seep through. Unfortunately, this time the bleach did seep through, which later on I'm going to show you how to fix, when your knots are over bleached and your hair has started to get bleached in that process. I'm just showing you guys how far I take the bleach just to make sure that every single knot is bleached. And because the hair is wet, I figured that if I laid the bleach, like if I lay the closure down as I usually do, the bleach would easily seep in because the hair is heavy and it's going to pull it down. So I try my best to put it up almost like vertically to make sure the bleach doesn't go too far in, but it did end up seeping through anyway. Like I said, I left the bleach on for 45 minutes as well, and then I came back and I washed the hair. As you can see, the hair is still turning the water red, so it means that I'm still going to be washing the hair for quite some time. And I did do that. I took my time and I just washed the wig, let the water run through it. I did not shampoo it because the wig is still new, so I didn't want to start putting product into hair that I know is clean and new. I did, however, condition it, but I didn't show that. And then to tone out the bleach knots, I am using this color tone conditioning purple shampoo, which I always use, and I poured quite a bit of it this time. As you can see, there's just an excess amount, but this is just to try and take the brassiness out, the orange and yellow undertones out of the lace from bleaching the knots. I also left this shampoo on for about 5 minutes before I washed it off. Okay, so after the water started running a lot clearer for the hair, I decided I'm going to try and tint the lace. So this part of the video is just experimental. I used kettle boiled hot water, and then I realized it was going to be too hot, so I tried to just make it less hot or burning by putting in a little bit of tap water, and then I poured more kettle water and I mixed that. Then I put in some rooibos tea bags, because these were the only tea bags I had, since that's the only tea I drink. But I don't think that they are potent enough to actually tint a wig, like a lace. But I really wanted to try and see if it was possible for me to tint the lace. I did see a difference, but I didn't see that big a difference. I ended up having, most people usually tint their lace for like 5 minutes or so, or 10 minutes, but I ended up having to leave it in like this tea mixture for literally like 30 minutes or something before I even saw a difference. Then I just washed the hair and I conditioned it, and now here we are with the air dried hair. Like I said, with my wigs, after I wash them, I let them sit for a day, let them air dry. I try not to ever use a blow dry on them, because I already know I'm going to put heat in, so I want one less source of heat damage on the hair. I'm going to be straightening out the hair, so you guys know my method. It has not changed in the last 2-3 years. I section out the hair, I half it first, and then I start sectioning from the bottom and I straighten the hair that way. But I did show the process here just so you guys can see it, because I like watching people straighten hair, so I find it therapeutic, and I felt like, let me just share that with you guys as well. Also, I straighten the hair on 220 degrees. So that's the highest my hair straightener will go. And that's just because I really want the hair to be sleek and straight and silky looking and all of those good things. Another tip that I believe I spoke about in my last hair video is I like to sometimes straighten my hair in an upwards direction, so that when it falls, it falls with more movement. It makes the hair less stiff and all that. So you see me doing that sometimes, switching between straightening it normally and straightening the hair upwards. Also, this is my first time using this lens. So this is a 50mm lens, which is really super zoomed in. I had to move the camera eons away from what I was doing, and it was still zoomed in. So I'm still trying to figure out the correct positioning and all those things to have it less zoomed in. So here I have the wig. I don't have braids, so I had to wear a wig cap, which you can kind of see the wig cap line. The wig itself, I did glue it down, I believe at this point. I glued it down just in front where the closure is, but I hadn't glued it down properly. It was just the first layer of glue. So when you're laying a wig, you know that if you want it to be really laid, it takes a couple layers of gluing it down and letting it sit, letting it dry, and then seeing which parts need more glue and so on. So this was just after one layer. And like I said, I wanted to go back to my classic hairstyle, which is the middle part, straight hair. So right now I'm doing a middle part. And let's just talk about the hair for a second. So obviously this hair was sent to me. This is not a sponsored video. They just sent it to me to play around with, to review, and to see if I like it and all these things, and to try out their 6-inch deep part, which is super long. I don't know if any of you know, the deeper your part is, the more natural the hair looks, the more it looks like it's your hair, because it's going all the way back there. And that is exactly what is happening here. I know the knots are over bleached, but even though they're over bleached, looking at how deep that part is makes the wig look a lot more natural, which I really liked. Talking about the quality of the hair itself, it was I think it had quite a high density. All the information about the hair will be in the description box below. I think it had quite a high density, which I did like, but then when hair is black, it looks even thicker, so it looked very full and thick, which isn't a problem at all. The hair itself was quite soft. There wasn't any shedding, especially during this process of washing it quite a few times. I think even though I did do all of this, I dyed the hair, it still came out so beautiful at the end of it. But my favorite part of this hair really is that 6-inch deep part. Like, it really, I've always wanted it. I've always been like, I need my part to go all the way back so this looks more natural, and this hair did exactly that, which I loved. So this is just me trying to flatten out the hair. The problem that I had with the hair was the fact that because it's a closure, the where the closure ends on my head, it kind of creates this sort of bump, and it's not as flat or smooth transition. So I tried my best to work on that. Here I'm just using a bit of Got2B glue to really glue down the front part. So like I told you, it takes layers of glue. Some parts don't glue down the first time, so I was just gluing that front part, making sure it is sitting good. And then I'm also using the hair curler to flatten parts, to push the first part back of the lace. I do that of the baby hairs. I do that at some point. Here I'm using this mousse, which I've used many times before. I'm going to put in the description box as well, just to lay down those parts that I was talking about where the lace meets the wig cap that are standing up a little bit and causing some flyaways. Then I'm using my Makeup Revolution Soph X palette, and I'm using that black just to go over the little bits of the hair that have been bleached and shouldn't have been, just to bring them back and make them natural. So this is the quick fix that I was talking about when you've over bleached your knots and you've started to bleach the hair itself. And I had to move the mirror up to see the back part, because like I said, it's a super deep part. And here you guys can see the difference between the hair that's been over bleached and the hair that I've used the eyeshadow to try and compensate from that for that over bleaching, and the result is phenomenal. This part is just, it's making me so happy. I love it. I love how natural it makes the whole wig look. It just makes me so happy. So yeah, so then I just straightened it again to my liking. Also, what I didn't show, I thought I had recorded it, but I cut the hair straight, so it was 20 inches. I didn't cut all that much off. I'll show you guys in a second. Yep, that's how much I cut off, which isn't a lot, just to get the hair nice and straight and just have a sharp cut. You know, I just like that look, and yeah. And that is the final look. If you enjoyed that video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up. And if you like this final look, if you think I should just keep rocking black hair all the time, then let me know down below. My actual natural hair, I dyed it back to black, so it's literally this color as well, and my high buns are going to be black anyway, black hair anyway when I do them. So yeah, don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Also comment down below whatever you'd like to see me do next. If there's any other type of hairstyles. I know you guys want me to show you how I lay my frontals the way I do after I've worn them for a couple days or weeks and whatever. So I'm going to be doing that very soon, so watch out for that. And yeah, thank you guys for watching. I really hope you enjoyed it. I'll see you in the next one. I can't reach my lens anymore because I got a new lens and she's zoomed in, so she's a little far, so I can't reach. But yeah, I love y'all.